minutes of meetings posted, all that stuff, so that there's accountability. And if someone, accepts a task and it isn't done, then we can go back to that person. So we're in the stage where we're struggling to create this bureaucracy, which I love and hate at the same time. And so it's there are just meetings on top of meetings on top of meetings. There's meeting fatigue. There's total meeting fatigue. I see the value in it, but we're going through this growing pain where, we're trying to build this structure, and at the same time, we're trying to maintain our workload. And somebody like me, I'm a photographer. I need to edit and post pictures. And it's like I get behind and behind because I never get to that task. I'm just in a meeting to talk about a meeting, about creating a structure.
You send a representative to the meeting then. Right. While you're editing, your representative, your agent, is there. Speaking your mind, and using his, better, discretion.
Right.
In order to keep the flow of, like you said, the workload going while this freaking meeting process goes on, you'll have to delegate it. I mean, you can't.
Yeah. Well, what we have right now is we have conference calling available. So during a meeting, if you can't be there physically, you can call in and participate. And then people are taking minutes of the meetings so that is posted later so that you can be filled in and caught up. And slowly, the number of meetings is being reduced. I mean, for the first month, media was meeting every single day, and it was insane. And a lot of people dropped out because of that. Now we have to recruit and try to bring them back because they just got tired of it, and people were getting behind on their personal work and their family life and everything. So now the daily meetings has dropped down to 2 or 3 times a week, and GAs have dropped down to twice a week. So as that structure is being built, there are less meetings, but it's still a problem.
I think a week is a more appropriate time to wait before you bring an issue and have to wait through a group of 30 people to get through them all.
Yeah.
And so you should kind of turn this over in your head for a week before you come in for a GA meeting, and then once there's a meeting, there's a decision made. Right. Information is disseminated through a group of people who have another group of people to disseminate. It takes a week.
It gives you time to think about it a little bit better and talk with other people.
And execute it.
So when you're there, now you've got a plan versus a daily thing. Well, we should do this and we should do that. Well, you're right, but there's only so much time in a day. So we ran into that with a lot of meetings every day, and then you can't do it.
That is one of the problems I remember from Occupy Detroit is we just had people would want to put a proposal in front of the GA, and they haven't even thought it out. They haven't even put the details into it, and they're making everybody there talk about it, and they don't even know what they want to accomplish with it. And I'm just like, write this stuff down before you even get here, before you're going to make us all sit here and listen to you come up with it on the fly.
Not only is it poorly executed, but another thing that I have noticed is it's a lot of everybody expresses themselves differently through this, and some of the people's version of expression is basically like a big overgrown version of student council. So, I poke fun at people, and I'm like, these people are, they just want to play student council, which is basically what they do, because they come here, they are bureaucrats, they want to be officious persons, and then they make a bunch of legislation and basically give consent on it, which is supposed to somehow be able to have that force exerted on other people operating here. It doesn't work, and because I don't consent to anything, only on a item by item basis on my own, and it doesn't matter what a GA assembly comes up with. And so the thing is what was I saying? With the student council thing, they would come in, run their bureaucracy, and then leave you with that. It's like they're not hands-on. It's just like, we came together to play student council, have this thing, which is basically like, somebody could go and have a basketball game or badminton or something, and it'd be the same thing. It's like a hobby type, want to act like a council,
Well, yeah, that's something we get too, is the people who just show up to our GAs and have a lot to say, and then they're not there at the camp, they're not executing any of the things that they're talking about, they just want to pretend to be junior congressmen or something for a few minutes, and then they're not getting any work done, and that creates a lot of problems, like I was talking to the other guys from Detroit about, because then there's the camp, and then there's people who show up at the camp that tell the camp what to do, who don't camp.
I don't know if I should publicize this, but early on, sorry Bob, early on we had a battle here. It was like a pitched emotional warfare about the flags. And when I came in,
About the
flags. Flying
flags
flags.
that we have.
flags. Okay.
And so, flying of flags. And when I first came in, I put up a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and I had some mild trepidation about doing it, because I understand that people get emotional about these symbols and stuff. And one of the most common questions I get about it is, what is this, affiliated with the Tea Party? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. And so that's just a form of misinformation that's unfortunate, but I can dispel it here in an instant and tell them about the history of the flag and how it's used, and point out that it's just a simple message. And so rather less complicated than a national flag. And so the thing is we had the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Nobody ever said anything about. We wanted to hang an American flag. Somebody donated one. They like to see their flag hung, and we are Americans. We have this heritage. And so some people like to fly the flag. I personally do not because I'm anti-American or lacking in patriotism. Just that it's a misunderstood symbol. And so they had the flag hung by somebody who was kind of handicapped mentally, And so they thought it was a fun thing to do, and he didn't understand what he was doing. And they said, yeah, hang that sucker upside down. And we hung it from the city light post to a city sign upside down, which, I had to say something about, because we cannot deface public property or convert it for our use, which would be even probably a greater charge. I don't know, maybe about the same as far as its harm. And so anyways, the thing about the flags was they hung it upside down, and immediately, within hours, there was people driving by all hostile, screaming out their window and stuff,
Well, yeah, there's an actual meaning to the flag being upside down.
Right, and that's so what we had.
It's distress.
Right, and so what we had is we had a bunch of people here who know of the law of flags, Title IV, and other just customary uses of flags, much less a traditional use, just flying it upside down. Generally is used as how do I want to say it? It is a dissent symbol. It's used in dissent. Okay, and that's fine. That's right and proper too. And so, its technical use is, need assistance. There's immediate danger to life and property, and that's in Title IV, U.S. Code, Law of Flags. And so, the Law of Flags also says that, basically, in peacetime, the flag is hung vertical with vertical stripes. And in wartime, the flag that we've seen all of our entire lives and our parents' lives is flown in its wartime variation, which is horizontal stripes. Okay, and so basically we've lived our entire lives and our parents' entire lives under a war flag, as far as I understand. And so pledge allegiance to the war flag. Yeah, pledge allegiance to the war flag of the United States of America Corporation. And so very basically, we flew it upside down, or it got flown upside down, which is in free speech. This is a liberty movement. It's a patriot movement, so free speech is to not be subdued anywhere near here, or allowed to be subdued within sight of here, basically, or any of the people that are here out on the territory. And so, they flew it upside down, got tons of email on it, man, tons of blogging, tons of people coming in saying, dude, I'm getting hammered with phone calls, god dang it, dude, what is up with this upside down flag, and we try to explain. We had posters, small cards printed, telling about Title IV and the use and our use, and telling people to ask questions. Ask somebody here and we'll tell you what it means, for real. And not only what it's technically used as, customarily used as, how we are using it, which would really mean what it means, And so, directly. And so, we had that flag, so I fixed it. I turned it in its peacetime variation, stripes down. I hung a peace flag next to it. It's like a sky blue background with a peace symbol on it. I hung that one also in the same orientation, not because that's the way that one's supposed to be flown particularly, just because it looked better next to the other aesthetics. And so this flag was hung next to it, and that night we had a GA meeting, and what somebody did is took the flag down. Took the upside down flag down, and I replaced it in its peacetime variation. We didn't actually take it down from somebody did that. No, it's anonymous. Nobody knows who took it down. And so it was just down and on a table somewhere, so I picked it up, flew it peacetime. By like a night or two later, there was a GA meeting held over the flag. Like, should we take the flag down? And even though it wasn't being flown upside down anymore, it didn't really matter to people. The image of that stuck in their mind, and that flag is now somehow offensive. It needs to be removed from the site. And so what they did is first they voted the American flag down, and then somebody piped up and said, hey, how about the peace flag? Like, we shouldn't be flying that either. I don't want to be represented by a peace flag. And so they voted the peace flag down. And then I'm in here, and I don't attend GA meetings generally. I am like logistics, nuts and bolts, maintenance, operations management. And so I don't engage in the politicizing and bureaucratizing and pontificating and playing student council and junior senator bit. And so I'm in here and I hear, all right, how does everybody feel about, and there's hand signals going on. I don't understand what that means, and that doesn't fit into my language, so I don't understand them. And I hear, how about the yellow flag? How many votes do we have to take the yellow flag down, which is my Don't Tread on Me flag. We had flying high overhead on a pole. It's the only flag flown properly high on a pole, underneath the Citizens Band antenna. And so, so we had like countywide radio, which is kind of cool. But anyway, so the Don't Tread on Me is flying on, another Independence device, which is the Citizens Band radio antenna. It's communications over wide distances with you are the communications company. You maintain, own, and operate the equipment, and there's no service charge, unlimited airtime. You're only limited by how many electrons you can feed it, which if you have a solar module is like 75 years worth. And so they didn't vote my flag down. They didn't touch it. I don't know how that transpired, but I basically sat mute through the meeting. I let them have their meeting, and was going to see if anybody physically attempted to take it down and physically stop them from taking it down, because that's much different than legislating it down, the actual act of removing it physically from the site. And so we have things to learn and teach. And so so that was the flags, and so now there's like no flags outside here, which is unfortunate. But we're gonna rehang them. There's no like General Assembly decision that can like stop a signal device being flown overhead. It's like again, it's a logistics thing. People don't have to feel represented by the flag. The flag is basically, it's more like a welcome sign, the way I look at it, People who recognize it are welcome, You recognize America, you're welcome. You recognize peace, you're welcome. You recognize self-defense, you're welcome,
Well, it's interesting how they basically act like organizations can take ownership of certain symbols. It's like nobody can ever use the swastika for anything ever, 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 because the Nazis did. And I totally understand that. That's a really extreme example, but when you guys had the Don't Tread on Me flag on here, I knew exactly why you hung it. I didn't think there were any Tea Partiers here. The Don't Tread on Me flag doesn't belong to the Tea Party. It has meanings that have nothing to do with that. So I didn't make any assumptions at all. I was like, well, here's a bunch of people who respect and like the idea of freedom. Imagine that, Ask them what it means. Like, I get people sometimes who ask me because of this Ron Paul button, am I a racist? I'm like, no, I support Ron Paul for foreign policy and civil liberties. And they go, oh, yep, don't make any assumptions.
Take a safety walk.
Right.
There's reports of a gunman on your campus apparently, so maybe we need to go away. I don't know.
What?
We were just Derek came in and just got a thing on his phone.
It was just a couple minutes ago. Someone was saying it.
Oh, so they had a gunman there? That's no problem.
Oh, there is a gunman there right now.
That's cool. We should go down there with our weapons then.
Well, I'll get to test my waterproof camera watching you guys explain open carry laws to the local police. Yeah.
We'll repel violent crime from our operating area.
It's a little too weird.
What?
What are you guys doing?
You know what's funny is it might be a drill.
That's what I think. It's false flag bullshit.
Yeah, false flag bullshit. That's why we should go down there and hold signs and have people fucking set the drums up and be like,
This is a stage-managed event. Stage-managed event.
yep. Don't fall for the false flag, people. And don't let them stick any gray sticks of butter in your frickin' support pillars of your college dorm. Yeah.
Somebody explain the gray sticks of butter.
Oklahoma.
Oh.
During Oklahoma, before Oklahoma, there were like lots of training missions going on, and the Murrah building housed like all kinds of different organizations, including like a daycare center for the people who work there at a court office, like a federal court office or something of the nature. And so like a bunch of people were like given pages like the day before or that morning that said, don't come to work, Judge so-and-so. It won't be in your best interests. It's a good day to stay home. And the ATF crew that was in the building actually was like not a single one of them was in the building. They were all off-site getting dressed in their battle regalia, their full frickin' assault team response shit, you know? It takes a half an hour to put it on, and they were there within like 3 minutes of the explosion in full battle dress, you know?
Reporting that they got pages not to go in that day and,
Right.
and to get ready.
Right, and so also they were seen and videotaped with the EMS crews. And the EMS crews have testified and said in reports that the ATF pulled up on the outside of the building, asked them to bandage them, and tell everybody that they were rescued from like the 3rd floor or some shit. Story like that.
Well,
And-
yeah, the ATF and their little fundraisers, you
Right.
know, like Waco.
And fundraiser, getting support from honest, business owners and racketeers.
Yeah, well, I'm not into crazy Christian cults, but they had a bunch of media just sitting there waiting to see the ATF rescue everyone from the evil
Right.
Branch Davidians who weren't hurting anyone outside of their compound. You know, they had everything just waiting to turn it into a big... That's why I said fundraiser. It's a big, propaganda. See, we're great. We're the ATF. You see your tax dollars at work? We got these bad people
Well,
who
not
are
only that, there's
minding their own business.
really bad people out there who like to see their work get done in the world. And if you want to talk about fundraising, pulling off something like Waco or Ruby Ridge and actually getting away with it, and not, if they could get away with it without bad PR, that would be a frickin' job well done. They would get like extra funding throughout the decades for that. You know what I mean?
Secretary of State? Well, that was Clinton administration, wasn't it?
Terry Lynn Land, Candace Miller. Here? Where are you talking?
No. We're talking about during Waco. Who was the Secretary of State? I guess
Janet
for.
Reno.
There's a barricaded gunman at the village in the corner of Fort Street.
He went to get his laundry and stuff.
What'd you say, Village Inn?
Yeah.
At U of M.
At Village Inn.
Oh, that's why they was down there. Me and my girl was walking up court earlier.
And so, anyways, what were we talking about?
Waco.
Yeah, Waco, Ruby Ridge, and so Oklahoma. The people who perpetrated it, reportedly, the people who perpetrated the Oklahoma bombing, Timothy McVeigh and some, right-wing nuts, supposedly, had cased the joint for like a year, done all this research, practiced stuff, like new demolitions, was gonna blow this building up from the street with this truck bomb, right? And they put their bomb on like the absolute wrong side of the building to get back at the ATF or anybody else, man. They ended up blowing up like the child daycare and like some other stuff,
Right.
again for the fundraising bit. And so they were seen in the building the weeks before the bombing doing training runs and inserting gray sticks of butter into the construction areas, and so also all of these unified bomb experts and demolitions experts and structural engineers have said, dude, there's no damn way, absolutely no
I've
way,
seen those reports.
that much ammonium nitrate on that street could do that to that building. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, physically, nearly impossible for it to happen, much less did it likely happen here, And so, there's reasons to look at it. So that's where gray sticks of butter comes from. It's a common thing around here.
Gray sticks of butter, and you heard it first on V-RADIO.
Is it cool to take pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, you're like Occupy journalism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been photo documenting since day one. Actually, a long-term like goal for it is we would like to host a photo exhibit come spring, because we know we're going to lose some numbers, and we're going to have to do an active recruitment of people that were involved. And then so we'd like to have a photo show, and then maybe even a regional